Hey everybody, welcome to the Unshackled Moms Alliance. Today I have Heather Pulliam who's going to talk about such an incredible topic that I think so many of you can relate to. She's going to talk about her son Nathan, about how his diagnosis affected their family, and how her sweet Chayse just brought it all together with tied her little perfect family with a little bow. So let's get to it. So you, Heather, have been in your job for 20 years. You've gone back to school. I know a lot of moms could relate to that. And you're parenting two young kids. How have you managed to carry all that while navigating a level 3 diagnosis?
I think people think I'm crazy, but no, so yeah, working at my job for 20 years has been great. I've really got a chance to like move into different roles, and work has been, that part of my life has always been kind of easy, I guess.
Yeah.
And so going back to school was just kind of like, I'm 41. I waited a long time. I never liked school. Did okay in school, but never liked school. But I was like, I need a fallback. You just, with the economy and things like that, maybe there's just, you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And I don't have a degree, but I've been lucky enough to be able to work into the role that I'm in IT without it. But I just wanted that fallback just in case, because unfortunately, all your skills aren't always, taken into consideration. They want to see that stupid
Yep.
degree on a piece of paper. So
Yep. Absolutely.
that was my decision. The way I balance it though is I have a lot of support. My husband, when I told him I think I want to go back to school, he was instantly like, do it. Like, I mean, I'll help you in any way I can. He works full time as well. We have different schedules, so we balance it out that way. But and then you add level 3 diagnosis of autism onto it, and it does add a lot. And a 5-year-old little girl who has her own sass to her. It's a busy, chaotic. It's chaotic, but I talk to my kids. I sit them down. I'm like, okay, guys, mama's got to study.
Yep.
And Chayse is now to the point when I'm like, okay, I got a test. You have to be quiet. You have to let mommy do this test. And then she says, good luck. And then when I tell her I pass it, she celebrates right with me. I don't know if she fully understands what she's celebrating, but she's excited for me.
We'll take
And
every celebration we can get, for sure.
exactly. Yeah. And then I just have support of family. My mom helps when needed. And, I have a lot of that. The support is the biggest thing.
Well, I think that is so important because so many moms are having to do that, right? Go back to school,
Mm-hmm.
reevaluate where they are work wise, because our culture is just changing so fast. Even with AI and everything else that's happening, I think so many families can relate to what you're doing. And whether you have someone who's on the spectrum or not, it's hard to go back to school and study and do all the things, no matter if you have 6 kids, 1 kid, or even, your big kid that you're partnering with, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be hard. So
Yeah.
congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. It was a hard decision. And I get to work from home. So that's helpful.
Yeah.
And then my work is also, they know I'm going back to school. And so they've been like, sure, if you need to take a, few hours to take a test, or, they were just very supportive. So it's very cool.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So when you first heard the words level 3 nonverbal autism, what emotions came up for you? And then how have they evolved over time?
So at first we didn't, so a lot of people talk about the levels. And I was not very familiar with the levels. And so we've never actually officially gotten Nathan level 3 diagnosis. However, with all of his different behaviors and where he's at developmentally and things like that, we have assumed that that's where he's at. But in Washington, and I don't know if this is like this for anybody else, but in Spokane, I don't hear those levels very often. But in order to describe my son, I use level 3.
Yeah.
But when we got the diagnosis, it was really hard. We didn't initially get it. until after he started speech therapy. So we didn't notice any of these, like, any of the behaviors or anything like that until about 18 months. So he regressed. He was meeting milestones up until then, and then all of a sudden he just stopped, like, talking. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, I think there's something going on. And of course my husband's like, he'll get it when he's supposed to. And you hear people say he'll get it. Everybody talks in their own time.
Yep.
And so I was like, nope, nope, nope. My mama radar is going, no, there's something going on here. So I talked to his pediatrician. Sorry, I can't talk this morning. I talked to his pediatrician, and I said, I'm really concerned about the speech part. Like, he was saying all these words, and then all of a sudden I'm not hearing them at all anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
so we got into speech therapy, and initially they were like, oh, it kind of seems like maybe there's, a delay. Then they threw out the word apraxia of speech, which is where the brain knows what it wants to say, but it can't connect it to the mouth. And so it makes it harder. So things come out way differently. They think they're saying it, but they're not actually saying it. So just all these things. And so after a few times we were there, she was like, I'm thinking I'm seeing some autistic traits. And we're like, there's no way. No way. He
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
have autism. And obviously I didn't know anything about autism, but I was like, he does not have autism. There's nothing wrong. My husband was absolutely like, no, I don't want to hear that. But I was like, went home, did some more research, and was like, okay, let's just get an evaluation done. And we actually got referred to a psychologist, went through all the evaluation process, and they said, nope, he doesn't have it. I think there's just a learning delay and obviously a major speech delay, but we're not seeing autism.
And you're
So
like,
we got,
yes, I knew it.
yes, exactly. We were like, I knew, I'm the mom. I know my
Right.
son. So then we, went back to the speech therapist and we're like, he doesn't have it. And they were just like, really? And we're like, yeah, a psychologist told us, like, we're
Right.
not just telling you this. We're not crazy. So for quite a chunk of time, the facility we were going to, fabulous facility. We loved his speech therapist. I want to put that out there. Ashley was fabulous. But for a long time, they were still questioning it. And it was kind of making us mad because we're like, no,
Mm-hmm.
we've got this. So they gave us some more resources. And at that point, I was taking every resource I could get. And we did this resource, can't remember what the name of the place is, but it's for age 0 to 3, and they come to your house and they just work on behaviors. They help you through it. And this lady, she referred us to Eastern Washington University, a study that they were doing on autism. And she's like, it might just be worth checking out, and just get that second, you know, diagnosis or evaluation.
Yep.
So we were like, okay, let's just do it. And by that time, I was still, in the back of my mind, there was a slight little voice saying, there's something going on. So
Yeah.
it's worth looking into. So we did the evaluation and we were there for 3 to 4 hours, went through all this stuff. My poor little boy, right? He's just 3 years old, and they're putting him through the ringer. But at the end of it, they said, well, yep, he has autism. And by about 15 minutes in, I was like, they're going to tell us he has autism. I could just see
Yeah.
it. So it still didn't take me, I still broke down and cried. It wasn't a good feeling to get that diagnosis.
Yeah.
And they let you sit with it for a minute. They're not the most like, it's okay, give you a
Right.
hug. They're like, this is what it is. Here's some paperwork. Now you need to go to a pediatrician, get it signed off on, and away you go.
What was
So,
that like as a mom to have? Because in your head, you're like, okay, well, the psychiatrist said it's not that. And so
mhm,
all my dreams and hopes for him can still maintain. And
yeah,
then to have that study, it's like, oh, wait. That
yeah,
even though there's that little niggling in the back of our mind, sometimes as moms, we just ignore that because we don't
yeah.
really want to acknowledge it. But then now when we have this study, and then they say, okay, this is really what it probably is. So, have your pediatrician sign off on that. Like, What is that like?
Yeah, I was a little frustrated at the psychologist. I was like, we could have had these answers a long time ago because it was probably a good almost a year before we got, the final diagnosis. And so I was a little frustrated at that. My heart hurt. I was like, instantly, everything of his life flashes. And it's cliche to say, but like everything that you thought for your child, you're like, that's gone.
Yeah.
And it's not that as I've grown to learn about autism, the things that I think Nathan can do are broad. But when I got that diagnosis, my brain and my heart instantly went to like, he's not, what is his, is he going to have friends? Is he going to be able to finish school? Is he ever going to be able to talk? Is he going to be able to do things? Is he going to be able to live on his own, have a job, just
Yep.
have a normal life that you want for your kid? And I was that mom when I found out I was having a boy. He was going to play football. He was going to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I was going to get to be with my team. And
I want to hear my thanks, Mom, or hi, Mom on the TV.
Exactly. And so it was pretty devastating, to say the least. And let me tell you, he is the least athletic little boy. It's okay, but he is the least athletic little boy ever. But I did I got out to the car and sobbed. I called my dad. I told him, and he was almost like not mean to me, but in a like buck up type of way, like,
Yeah.
hey, it's fine. He's still Nathan. And his exact words were, he's gonna have quirks, but he's still Nathan and we all love him, and that's not gonna change. And I mean that it helped, but it didn't. It didn't help, but it helped, but I will always remember those words
Yeah.
that he
Sometimes it
said.
just takes Dad to be able to kick us back into the game, so to speak.
Yeah, he did not let me sit in that moment. He did not let me sit and dwell on it. And then I get off the phone with him and still sit and dwell on it. So it was like no, I'm gonna cry. I'm sad. But I went home that night, and for a good it doesn't ever go away, but for that first week, I probably did not sleep at all.
Yeah.
I would cry at night mostly to myself because my husband, I can't say he didn't accept it, but he was just kind of like, I don't even want to think about it, I
Yep.
guess. And he didn't, and it's my personality in general, but I'm the type, I'm going to research every single thing. And then I would pull up the worst of the worst stories.
Google is not your friend.
No, don't ever do that. And do it to an extent, but don't look at the worst things. And I would like come out of the room crying and tell him these things I found, and he'd be like, would you quit looking stuff up? My goodness. And but I will say, the one thing I did find was a group and a mom that blogs, and a lot of people probably follow her if they go through this, and it's Finding Cooper's Voice. So
Yep.
Kate actually she was the first blog that I found and first person who I was like, that's my son. She has a son like my son. And listening to her story and how she's been able to navigate it, really, that helped.
Yep.
So that's kind of what I did. I still sit in grief. It just doesn't come daily, I guess. But the grief of his diagnosis hasn't gone away.
Right. Well, I think there's also something different about when you first find out and he's little and you don't know what the potential is, right? This is new. You've never lived this life before.
Yeah.
And with this diagnosis. And now, looking back at how incredibly far he has come and how, yes, he still has his quirks, but what an incredibly beautiful boy he is, right?
Yeah.
And you knew that before, but you didn't know to like what the extent he has, like that now he can say a few words and now he can do a few things that maybe back then you didn't know.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be some comfort to watch some of the things evolve and like, okay, maybe it was going to be okay for reals. Because you tell your head, and when you get that diagnosis, you have to tell yourself, it's going to be okay. We'll
you have to
figure
move
it out.
forward.
But
Mhm.
as you're finding it, learning and living that, it's like it really is going to be okay.
Yeah,
Whatever
and
that
then
looks like for him.
yeah, and then you also have the people that and bless everybody who, tried to comfort everything, but you have the people that, well, you know, God gives the people with, children with autism that they know can handle it. And it's like, but
Mhm.
I don't want to handle it. I, like I, yes, I can handle it. I know I'm a strong woman. I can handle
Right.
it. My husband, we can handle it. But my son, why did he have to go through
Yeah.
life with this?
Yep.
It's not even about me anymore. It's like, why did he have to get these extra struggles that,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah, that's hard, right? Is to watch your son struggle and to watch him not, especially as he gets older, right? How, all the boys are all hanging out. They're, more
mhm.
and more they're wanting to go to the skate park together. They're wanting to do all the things. And although thankfully there are people who include him, that, the older they get, the more it seems like that distance
Yeah.
becomes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So how did this diagnosis consume your life for a while? I know you talked a little bit about how, you went to Google and Googled all those different things, but what did that do for your relationship? You didn't have any other kids at the time, but like, tell me a little bit about what your life was during that time.
So again, yeah, the Googling was a lot. Nathan had, he was 3 the official diagnosis, but we were experiencing behaviors, before that.
Yeah.
And he didn't sleep. When he was a baby, I was like, I got the luckiest. He slept amazing. And then as he got older, into after about 18 months, he didn't sleep, and he would have these night terrors, and he would wake up, and it was the strangest thing because you could tell he just was not there. But he would
Mm-hmm.
go stand in the middle of our kitchen and just wail. Like there was no consoling him. We didn't know what he wanted. He would just, and it would last 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. And it was exhausting. And he would just wail until he was so exhausted that he would start to not fall asleep sitting up, but you could just see like he's getting so tired. And then we'd finally get him to sleep. But that was probably one of the hardest times. We started early on to figuring out that he thrives on routine. So if
Mm-hmm.
you break out of his routine at all, and it still is that way to this day, but as he's getting older, he's learning to adapt a little bit more. But um, if you would break out of his routine, it would be significant meltdowns. And he, I mean, he, it wasn't until he got older that he would start to kind of hurt himself, but he would, he would throw himself to the ground, things like that. We never had to worry about eloping. He was not a runner. We were very lucky about that.
Yeah.
Um, but he, all of his behaviors, anything that we do, have always been consumed our life, and they still to this day. Like we can't just get in the car and go somewhere. um when we get the minute I get invited to something, I my anxiety goes up because I have to figure out, one, is Nathan gonna want to go? Probably, most likely not.
Right.
Who's gonna stay with him? Is it something that I need my husband to go to with me, or want him to, because I like having my husband with me
Right.
at things.
Yeah. Imagine
Um,
that.
yeah, and who's going to be available? We have a very small amount of people that we trust, obviously, to stay with him.
Sure.
So, um, that's one of the hardest parts. And then there's the things that we have to force him to do, like example, doctor appointment. He has to go to these appointments, and it's like he'll sit in the back of the car and just scream and yell and take off his seatbelt. And there's even times where tried to climb up the front and put my car while I'm driving, and just he'll throw it into neutral. Sometimes he's done that before. Luckily he can't get out because we have the child locks, but he'll sit and ream on the door. So
Yep.
just things like that. Um, it that controls every aspect of our life. If he feels like he wants something and you don't give it to him at that point, he doesn't quite grasp I'm going to do this for you, but
Mhm.
it can't happen right now. For example, like if I was in a meeting for work and he wants me to make him something, he will come every 2 seconds and bother me about it. So and that's just one example, but he's pretty rigid on the things he wants in his routine. It's getting better. We work on it every day with him. There's lots of talking him through it, conversations, but it's hard.
Does it get easier? I mean, um, obviously, it breaks your heart initially when that happens, right? So when he has those night terrors, he's standing in the middle of the kitchen, he's screaming, crying, and there's no consoling him. Where before, like it's night and day, right? So before
Mhm.
you rock him to sleep, he sleeps, it's fine, and now all of a sudden you have this, but now he's older, so you've had years of this. Does it get easier in your head? Do you think, okay, so I know that it's going to be awful when we take him. I'm going to do all the precautions that I can. It's going to be loud, but we're just going to get through it.
It depends on the situation. So one of the worst parts about all of it is if we're all together, me and my husband tend to turn on each other in these moments, which
Yeah.
makes it worse. And we know we do it. We know we do it. And it's just because of the frustrations that are building up for both of us. You can only hear a kid screaming at you for so long before
Yep.
you go, enough is enough. And, but I will say, Nathan, it has gotten better. I think he's maturing a little bit. He's 10 now.
Yep.
Um, the talking him through it tends to help. I am not opposed to a bribe. If we have to go to the doctor and then let him go pick out a toy,
Yeah.
we'll go to Target. I'm not opposed to that. But so it's getting easier, but we have also learned to pick our battles. So
Yep.
for example, we went to my brother's birthday party yesterday, and I know it's a place Nathan likes to go. And I ask him, "Do you want to go?" He says no. So I was just like, "You know what? I will talk to my mom and see if she can come babysit, because why in that moment would I force him to go to something that he really doesn't need to go to? Would he
Right.
have fun? Yeah, probably, but he doesn't need to do it. So learning to pick my battles of what he needs to do and what he doesn't is a huge thing.
I love that. And it also is continuing to develop some autonomy in him, right? And
Hmm.
giving him some concrete choices
Yeah.
where, he knows that it's not everything. I'm sure sometimes for him, it feels like everything's forced upon him all the time.
Hmm.
I have to go to school even though I don't want to. I have to go to the
Yeah.
doctors even though I don't want to. So, like, I think no matter where your kiddo is, whether they're on the spectrum, whether they're just, you're just raising a 5-year-old Chase, right? Like
Yeah.
being able to give them opportunities where they can become autonomous and, make their own mind and make their own choices is, parenting 101 in my book.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
it develops so many great things. So talk to me about, you said a little bit that, that your husband and you kind of play off each other. But tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about how the diagnosis and how living this new life for you as a couple, how did that affect your relationship together?
So one of the research things that I found Googling was the divorce rate for people not only with children with autism, but just children with disabilities in general is extremely high.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that, and we both said, no, that's not going to be us. We're going to be fine. And fast forward, we found that we turned on each other pretty quickly. Our
Yeah.
parenting styles are obviously a little different. When it's normal, our parenting styles match well, but you learn what you grew up with. So
Mm-hmm.
you think that you try to do better than what your parents did, obviously,
Right.
or use some of the things that they did, but with autism, you have to rethink how you're parenting. So we started fighting a lot, and turning on each other in ways like, I didn't sleep good last night and you got to sleep, and lots of those little nitpicking things. And my husband at the time, when Nathan was born, he had hurt his back at work, and he ended up having two back surgeries within a few months of each other, and he couldn't work. He went into a depression because he became kind of the stay-at-home dad. And I will say that I kind of resented that a little bit, being the only one who was bringing in the income. I had always thought, well, I want to be a stay-at-home mom,
Oh yeah.
but I I couldn't, obviously. And so I think that there's just a lot of buildup. And then he was feeling a certain way about not working as being the man of the house, and I didn't fully know that he was feeling that way. I also didn't know how he was grieving Nathan's diagnosis, and I think that put a lot on him as well, because he just didn't really communicate it with me. So we ultimately got to a point where I actually filed for divorce. He went
Mhm.
and stayed with his parents in Yakima, which is about a 4-hour drive from where we live. And we were going to go through it. And when he was gone, we talked on the phone constantly. We'd fight on the phone. We'd get along. We'd fight. We'd get along.
Right.
And there was just like one day I was here by myself. He had the kids with him in Yakima. And I was like, you know what? I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like this. We can get through this. So I called work. My boss at the time, she knew what was going on. And I said, I'm not coming in for the next couple days. I have to go save my marriage. And she was like, go. So I drove to Yakima and we met. We talked for all night long. And he came home a couple days later. He was finishing up, he had the kids. I drove home. He brought the kids home, and we ended up instantly getting into counseling, realized that our communication was awful
Yep.
and that we had to figure out how to communicate with each other. I I have a strong personality. I'll say it in that way. I tend to take over. I want control. And so I had to learn to back up a little bit and let him kind of also be there and understand that he had feelings with everything going on. He works now. He feels good about himself again. Um, Nathan's getting older. I think that it all kind of goes together, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
it's
think
a
that,
lot better.
you get this, it's like you have this expectation and you're in this rowboat together in the middle of the ocean. It's fine. You're pulling together, you're rowing really good together. And then all of a sudden you have this diagnosis and it's like that whole thing capsizes and you like, poof, you're in the middle of the ocean trying to swim it out. And you're so busy trying to like save your own life and try to, be self-preserve, in that self-preservation mode, that it's hard to like help the other person, because like I already have my own things that I'm going through, my own disappointment and heartache, and now I have this child that is screaming in the middle of the kitchen, and I don't know what to do, and it breaks my anytime I think, and there are dads too, but I think I can just speak as a mom, that anytime our kids are hurt, whether they're 2 or they're 22, right, our hearts hurt as mamas.
Yeah.
And when we can't do anything about it, like it just makes it all the more that way. So
Yeah.
like going on that whole battle, and then somehow you guys found, life saving again, right? You found a boat. Go in
Yes.
that analogy, right? And you're together, you're rowing together, and creating just such a beautiful life together.
Yep. And we'll be married 12 years next month. So we're doing good. We're doing a lot better. We still bicker, we still fight, we still turn on each other, like I said, but we learned how to communicate better. We're a lot quicker to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap like I just did. So
Well, I love that because I think it's such a great example of, to anyone who's listening, right? And is just maybe in the thick of going through it, where you're just like, I am done. Like, I can only deal with whatever diagnosis my kiddo has, whether
Yeah.
it's, a terminal illness, whether it's autism, whatever it is. Like, I can only deal with me and my child. I cannot deal
Yeah.
with my big child, right? Like, the
Yeah.
things that are happening there. But really, what a great testament to, like, okay, take a breath. You both, and recognize you both are really going through it right now,
Yeah.
and know that this is a chapter. It's not the whole book. Right.
Yes,
And you can work through
exactly.
that, and you can get through it to the other side and learn how to work together. And really, it does not mean that you are weak if you have to go to counseling. It does not,
No,
right? Like,
not at all.
it's like putting tools in your couple's toolbox, and to
Hmm.
help you cope.
Yes, exactly. And there was even a couple times where I was like, the counselor likes you better. When it was really like, no, Heather, you have crap you need to work on.
Oh yeah, that.
Darn it. It's not, I'm not the perfect one.
So you say that during that process that blogging really helped. So I know that you started a blog and you kind of did that, and then you've kind of shifted a little bit. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I've always been somebody who I've always kept little journals. Even when I was younger, it could be a simple like I've actually just found a few of them like last year we were going through. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember these from high school. But even just like little jot down notes of what I did that day. So I've always been somebody who likes to write down my feelings. I feel like I write better than I talk sometimes.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm just gonna start being. Always wanted to be transparent on with what was going on with Nathan because it would give an insight into what our lives were like for
Mm-hmm.
the people in my life. So on Facebook, family and friends, and just to have them understand like if I'm going through something, this is kind of what it is. It's not anything else. It really is my son. And so I started writing just little posts and kind of doing like little videos, just talking about what we were going through. And then I created a blog, which I will say I have backed off from writing a little bit in that blog.
Yep.
But I did also create a Facebook page called Through Nathan's Eyes. And I chose that name because I would just sit and stare at Nathan and wonder what was going on behind these gorgeous blue eyes he has. And because I could tell there's just so much. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wanted just people to kind of see the world through his eyes. And so I started writing. I don't do it as often. Work full time, school full time
Yeah.
mom. I don't write as often. Plus, I was having a lot of writer's block about things, but I still on there share like first day of school pictures and talk about, what he's going through, just not as often. But it really did help me to understand for myself, to go back and read the posts. I'll go back and read some of them periodically just to remember where we were at that time, to see how far we've come. It was very therapeutic for me, and that's kind of why I started it.
Yeah.
And also, there's more and more out there now, but when Nathan was diagnosed, I found Finding Cooper's Voice. She wasn't very big at the time. Her
Okay.
blog was just getting going. Kate and Cooper, and it and there wasn't a lot of others that I was seeing at the time. And so I was like, even if it helped one person, it's not like I have a million followers or anything like that, but just helping, even if it helped one mom or dad or whatever, I was like, well, cool. And to share our life with my family. I wanted them to have a place to be able to see what was going on
Yeah,
with
absolutely. And
Nathan.
I think that you are such a bright light, Heather, and you have really been through it. And I just hope that you continue to do those things because I think your voice really does need to be heard.
Thank
I
you.
hope that maybe someday that, you guys will continue to do something as a couple, because I think that too often couples, there isn't anything out there right now with couples, and,
Yeah.
and dads are going through it, and
Oh
like,
yeah.
I always say, like, I raised my kids as a single mom, and I always say, I'm a great mom, but I suck as a dad, right? Like, I
Yeah.
have that perspective.
Right.
So, like, I hope that as things develop, that you'll just like share with us how we can support you, because I think that your voice really does need to be heard because you are
Thank
very
you.
eloquent.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we've talked about that. My husband is a little, I don't may not come across as that much of an introvert, but we're both pretty introverted. Um, and he's even more so than I am. So I try to get him, I'm like, I think people would want to hear your perspective and like our perspective together. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, what do you wish more couples understood about staying together and raising a child with significant needs?
I think that for obviously I'm always going to say you have to do what you got to do for yourself. Like some people really truly need to, it's better for them. But I would say that I think Nathan would be a lot different little boy had we decided to separate.
Yeah.
During the time that we were going through it, you could see a change in him a little bit. He got really skinny, and my son is not, he's a chunky little boy. He got really skinny. You could just see the stress. You could see the stress. Obviously he can't say what he's going through, but
Yeah.
I was starting to notice. I was talking to his teachers, and I'm very close with his teachers, and um, we were just really working with him. And so I think that had me and Dom decided to be separate, it would have really impacted Nathan and all of his routines. And he would have obviously moved forward and developed new ones, but I don't think he would be the little boy that he is today had we decided to um, separate. And we need each other. We realized that we can't do this alone. Like, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I call my husband a lot. It's during the summertime. I have both kids while I'm working at home, and he's at work, and I go, Nathan, I need you to talk to Nathan. He needs to hear from you. And so we realize it works together once we kind of clicked the pieces into place.
Yeah, well, I think even in like the intense pressure of dealing with whether it's behaviors, the unknown, or whatever, like it bubbles things up. But
Mhm.
really being able to tag team each other and knowing that you're both going through it, whatever that looks like, because it ebbs and flows. Because it
Mhm.
seems like as there's a new age, there comes new challenges.
Yeah,
And
I'm not looking
and
forward to
just
puberty.
raising kids anyway, right?
Mhm.
Like and it's so crucial to be able to tag team that.
Yeah, I am definitely not looking forward to puberty. And I tell Dom all the time, I'm like, I'm not a boy. I don't know how to talk to him about boy things. And then how do you add it on when he has autism and you don't know if he's going to understand the puberty talks, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like we're 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 going to remember he's only 10. We don't have to have that yet, but I think it's going to come in the next couple years. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about the shining personality in I would say probably not an introvert. Miss Chase.
yes.
So she seems kind of like an old soul, a fierce little advocate. How do you nurture her emotional needs while balancing Nathan's care?
Yeah, Chase is definitely, you described her perfectly. We've always said she is an old soul. She the things that come out of her mouth, you're like, where did that come from? Because you're 5. But she is already Nathan's protector. She is his advocate. She wants to help him. She helps him she's constantly saying, Nathan, say this word. And he listens to her. He listens to her sometimes better than he listens to me. They have a very unique relationship, but also typical sibling relationship. All she wants from him is for her big brother to play with her, and he will, but it's on Nathan's time, on Nathan's terms, and it's for about 5-minute increments. And she just cannot handle it. I think that's one of the hardest parts for Chayse is her feelings get hurt very easy, and we try to explain to her, your brother is not trying to hurt your feelings, baby girl. This is how he is. He moves from one thing to the next from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to bed. And so when she gets these little increments of time with him, the girl is in heaven. You hear giggling. She is just so excited. And so it breaks my heart when her little feelings get hurt that he doesn't want to play with her. She's made little comments like, and there was a most recent one, I wish I had a different brother who could talk to me. And I'm like, and so I tell her, like, it's okay, sweetie. I understand what you mean by that, but your brother, he loves you. He might not be able to tell you, but he shows you, he gives you loves. He wants you near him. He makes sure that he does make sure like that she is included. Like, we are never leaving her behind, things like that. And she's like, I know. And that's why I say she has such an old soul, because I can have these conversations with her. I know, but autism is so hard. And I'm like, yes, it is.
You are so
yes, it is. You are right. And then she goes, I love Bubba, because that's what she calls him. And so I turn away and start crying like, oh my gosh. But we have lots of talks. And then I make sure that she has her moments. Like, we do mommy sissy days. We go get our nails done and we go play at the park or go play at the arcade or go see a movie. She just gets that time. And then there's the times where we also have dad included, where she just gets to have that time, because she has to be left out of a lot of things if we can't figure out something for Nathan. Like, we'll suggest, hey, Nathan, do you want to go to the park? She gets so excited. He says no. And then we have to balance out, well, do we make him? Probably not a good idea, especially if I'm by myself. Like, I can't force him to go places when it's just me. He's too big. He's too big.
Tell me about when you were pregnant with Chayse. Did you have any concerns about bringing another child into your family?
Yes. Before I got pregnant with Chayse, we would have off and on conversations. I would get baby fever and be like, I really want another one. And Dom too, like, we were like, it would be great. We, love Nathan. And, but then we'd go, we'd get nervous about autism. I had to have help getting pregnant with Nathan. So I thought, okay, if we're making this decision, I'm going to have to go get that help again.
Yep.
But about 2 months before I got pregnant with Chayse, we had made the decision, like, no, we're not going to have any more. We just were like, Nathan's 4.5. He was 4 at the time.
Yep.
We're like, he's great. If we have just one, we'll just focus all our attention on him. And then, 2 months later, I can remember exactly when it happened, which is so funny. But I found out I was pregnant and I sobbed, and I was like, we just decided we weren't going to have another one.
Yep.
I am so scared. I don't know if I can do autism with 2 kids. The funny story is I didn't even wait till Dom got home from work at the time. I blew up I was trying to get him on his phone. He wasn't answering. I called his work, was like, I need to talk to him. And they're like, you could hear on their voice, like, it's an emergency. And I get on the phone and he can hear me crying. And I'm like, I don't even want to tell you, because I was so nervous about how he was going to respond, because we just decided not to have any more. And he's like, and I tell him, and he's like, okay, well, this is exciting. Why are you crying? I'm not mad. He's like, let's talk about it when I get home.
Working.
Yeah. And so then he told me when he got home, he's like, I got off the phone. He's like, is everything okay? He's like, I guess we're having another baby. They probably thought, man, your wife is nuts. But after I talked to him, I actually felt better because I was concerned, like, is he going to be upset? We just talked about this. I knew he wouldn't deep down. He's not that person.
Right.
But yeah, I was terrified the entire pregnancy about autism. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
not that I wouldn't have loved her if she had it too.
Right.
I and I would have done what I always do and just moved forward and figured it out. But it would have been hard, really hard. And
Well,
when
especially since that's the only parenting experience you've had,
yeah,
right? Is with
yeah,
autism.
I
Yeah.
will, and that's what I tell everybody is parenting Chayse is like being a first time parent because she has met all of the things that your typical kids do. And so it's really weird for me because I'm so used to a delay in everything that to me, she's 5 years old, but I'm like, why are you doing all this? You're only 5 years old. And I'm like, wait, no, this is what 5-year olds actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that. But oh my gosh, she's such a joy. Like, she really, I will say, saved our family. She rounded it out, brought this like different perspective. She loves her family so much. She when I she cries a lot. She cries if she's happy, she cries if she's mad, she cries if she's sad. She has the most empathy and the biggest emotions. And so those emotions are felt in every aspect. So if she's mad, she's very mad. If she's happy, she's very happy. And even her teacher has said, we realized that with her preschool teacher said, we realized that with Chayse, like she's got a lot of empathy. And so it's shown in every aspect of everything she does.
Yeah. So tell me about, I know that you've gone on some family vacations, but in particular, tell me about, we've met all the different parts of your family. And so tell me about your family vacation to Disneyland.
Yeah. So Disneyland was like, something me and my husband always wanted to do for our kids because neither one of us got to do that when we were kids. And so I was like, all right, we're planning it. Let's do this. I'm the type of once I make the decision, I book it and I don't care. Like I check
Let's
dates,
go.
figure it out, we're going. So I planned it and he's like, well, wait a second, we're flying. Yes, we're flying. What about Nathan? Nathan's flying. Like he's gonna fly. We're gonna figure this out. And so that was probably one of Dom's biggest fears was the flight because one, he's terrified of flying. So of course he thinks everybody's terrified of flying. I fly all the time. It's not one of those things that has ever bothered me.
Right.
But I will tell you, Nathan did fantastic. He did better than Chayse. Chayse is 5. She was like all kind of like bored. But Nathan, he walked in like a pro, sat down, put his seatbelt on, he kept his headphones on. Like he was perfect. There was
But you
not a
prepared him,
single
right?
word. We did prepare him. We would, for probably a good 5 months, we would
Mm-hmm.
watch this one particular YouTube video that walked through every step of going through the security, getting on the plane, putting on your seatbelt, what happens, what it feels like. And he would ask to watch it constantly. And so, and we also had our countdown of when we were going, which is super helpful for Nathan. We have to do that in 7 days. We're doing this.
Yep.
And so we just really prepared him. And so he would constantly airplane because that is one word he can say is airplane. Comes out aircane, but we know exactly what he's saying. But he was so excited to go on it. You could see a little like the excitement, but the nervous excitement too. Like, okay, what is this going to be like? But he carried his own backpack and, walked through the airport. It was fabulous. And then Disneyland, that was the part I was more worried about because of it's noisy. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, there's a lot of stimulation, but there was not one single part where he was not happy to be there. He went on big rides. He did he did Indiana Jones. For anybody that has been to Disneyland, that's a scary ride.
It
Like,
is.
he went on it and we said, "Did you like it?" And he said, "Okay," which means yes.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want to go on again? No. No. I was like, "Okay, so you liked it, but we won't go on it again." But and his favorite ride was I don't know, have you been recently to Disneyland?
It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, so they have the new Cars Land area in
Yeah.
Radiator Springs, and it's a fast go up and around. And he, that was his favorite. He kept asking to go on it, and so it was fun. Yeah, he loved it. And though the part that the first night we were there, though, he did get sick for whatever reason. He had a stomach bug, and he was up all night puking, and I was like, "Oh no, great!" So our first day, so then we went to Disneyland Adventure first, and we were really close to the park. We stayed in one of the resorts, and he's like, "Bed," and I'm like, "Do you want to go rest?" Yep. So about noon, we decided to walk back to the hotel, and he just rested. We all kind of laid around, rested for a little bit. He took a little nap, and he was ready to go. We went back out and we were good to go. But yeah, he loved it. And he got to meet, his favorite movie is Toy Story 3. So he got to meet Jessie from Toy Story 3, and the excitement of that kid of meeting Jessie, and then Minnie Mouse, he was pretty stoked to meet too. But he was so excited. Like, it was the cutest thing ever. So yeah, and we were glad we did it.
Characters are pretty open to any kind of disabilities.
Oh,
I'm sure that helps.
Yep, they were, because I mean, you can't look at Nathan and go, "Oh, he has autism." Like,
right.
What does autism look like? But he did wear around his noise canceling headphones most of the time, and then we would tell him. And then it was his birthday too. I forgot that. Like, it was his birthday, so we had a happy birthday. It's my birthday shirt, and so they would like say happy, be very excited about his birthday, and they would really just have him touch their hands and like feel have him feel their face, and it was just a really cool experience.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. And how did Chayse do? Did she love it too?
She loved it. Chayse was a little more, she was a 5-year-old, definitely. My legs hurt. I'm hungry. I want this, that kind of stuff. She was a little more, she's quick to complain if she has no problems telling you how she feels.
Yeah. Did you rent a stroller? Because I've heard several moms say no matter how old your kid is, I mean, until they're teenagers, that renting a stroller is like primo.
We probably should have, but we didn't do that. We just, if we could tell that everybody needed to sit for a minute, we would sit. Grandparents went too, so that was super helpful. So they were able to help, especially with Chayse. It was extremely helpful.
Lots of hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about school. So you've written about praying that people will be kind when Nathan started school. What role do you feel? I mean, do you feel like that has happened? Tell me a little bit about the academic experience.
Yeah. So I was terrified for school. We did preschool special education right after he got diagnosed, and we really, I mean, it was so hard for me to drop him off. Nathan had never really been away from either one of us unless he stayed with a grandparent or something. And he did phenomenal. Like, I think he needed it. I think it was good for him. But preschool was preschool, and then he didn't even get to finish it out because COVID hit. And then so kindergarten was coming, and he was starting at a new school, new teacher. And I would pray every single night, please let this teacher be kind to him. Please let the students be kind to him. Let him make at least one friend. Like, you hear horror stories of how special education kids are treated by teachers sometimes. And it's just crazy to me. And when I say that God answered my prayers, I am not exaggerating in saying that. Like, he sent Stacy, who's not Nathan's teacher anymore, but was from kindergarten through 3rd grade. And the bond that they created is as close to the bond me and Nathan have as his mom as you can get. And it is just it melts your heart to see it. And so I always said, like, he loves school. There is not a point that Nathan does not want to go to school. He wakes up every morning. He still asks every day during the summer if he's going to school, and the way he says TT, which is teacher, every morning. And he absolutely loves it. And then moving into fourth grade, I went through the same emotions, like, please let this teacher be okay. And again, God answered my prayers, because she is just as amazing, and he's developing a bond with her. It's not there yet with Stacey. I mean, it's different, but she is just fabulous. And this year he's starting to learn to read, which is huge. Like, he's in fourth grade. He should know how to read, but the fact that he's starting is just, it melts my heart. And you can see the excitement when he actually reads and
Oh,
does it.
yeah.
It's very
Absolutely.
little, but it's very exciting. And then he has friends, and the school that he's at, the principal has always made sure that special education is included no matter what. They're included in award ceremonies. Nathan even got an award, just for for his kindness, and because he is very kind to the
Mm-hmm.
kids, like, there's not a mean bone in his body. And so they've always included him. And so they have always had helpers come in, like the older kids will come in and help. And so he's made friends that way. And he's also been integrated into some gen ed classes a little bit. And he's got a couple of little friends, these girls that have taken him under their wing. And I have video from his teacher of him learning to shoot a basketball from one of the friends, and they just include him in everything. Like, he went on a field trip with them to a Indians game, and they had him sit with them, and it was just just the
Oh,
inclusion. And so seeing that he has friends, I attribute that. I mean, I've prayed for all of that. And next, he goes into fifth grade, and then it's junior high. So I'm sure I'll be in the same, begging God for
yes.
for more safety and friendship, and just moving him forward.
Well, the Indians, for those who don't know, the Indians is our local
Oh yeah.
baseball, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is huge,
Yeah.
right?
I think he
Because there's
was
a lot
bored,
of
but
noise, there's a lot of things that are happening. There's a lot of, was it hard to let him go?
it was, but I knew one of his paras was going with him, so that was
Oh, perfect.
helpful. Had a para not gone with, I probably wouldn't have signed off on it, just because he does need that a little bit extra. For the most part, Nathan's pretty independent. The communication part, the fact that he has ways of communicating. He uses a device. He does say some words, but there's a lot of stuff that people aren't going to understand that we know he's saying.
Yeah,
And so if he didn't have that extra help, I probably would have been like, no, I don't think it's a good idea. But they said he did really well. He got bored. I mean,
it's baseball.
I don't particularly like baseball. I'm a football gal, but so he was pretty bored, but I think he enjoyed just being with his peers, cuz
Yeah.
I don't I've never been able to ask, like, Nathan, do you want friends? It's not like he can tell me, but you can see the excitement when he actually gets to be around some of the kids, not the kids in his class, and the kids that are not in his class. And so it brings such joy. But yeah, a lot of stimulation at a baseball game.
Yeah, not as much as a football game, because
Yeah,
let's face
exactly.
it, football is where it's at. But
Right.
sorry to those of you who love baseball.
Yes. Like
I would
football,
say
please.
baseball is more of a mathematic game, and I
Yes.
am less mathematic and more, English language arts, creative writing. And so
Yeah.
I understand. All I need to know is four downs,
Yes.
where we are in that, and did they tackle them down, right?
Yeah, and I like the physical part of it. It's exciting.
Yeah. And your favorite team, the Eagles, has done a lot for autism research and the things that are
Mhm.
happening in Philadelphia. So, like, it's kind of a nice lineup.
Yeah, I've been a Philadelphia Eagles fan since I was a kid, and it was always just so crazy to me that I ended up with a son with autism, and then to see that they started the Autism Foundation and they were the first team to have a sensory room. And I was like, this is my team for a reason, man. And one of my bucket list items, it would be to go to one of their fundraisers and be a part of that. And I will be at a home game one day.
Yeah.
I've gotten to see them play the Seahawks twice. It's not the same because, you know, I'm wearing green in a sea of blue, and it's just not the same.
Right? Well, you know, Nathan now is acclimated to flying, so you could go anywhere. The sky is the limit,
Right?
literally.
Yes, exactly.
So you describe Nathan loving ceiling fans as both funny and touching. Can you share that story and tell us about how you find joy and laughter in the quirks and routines of daily life with him?
Yeah, the ceiling fans are funny and annoying at the same time. One day so he likes YouTube videos, and I found him sitting watching YouTube videos of this old house of how to install ceiling fans, and it became one of his absolute favorite things to watch. And I was like, such an old soul. I even posted a little post about, I'm sitting here watching, I think he was 5 or 6 at the time. Sitting here watching my 6-year-old drinking his coffee, because he had a coffee cup full of milk, watching this old house on how to install ceiling fans. And it was the funniest thing. And so we had none in our house. My husband has since installed, I think, 3, and all for Nathan. And we have a picture of him, the first one being installed. He brought out Chayse's old crib mattress, laid it under the ceiling fan, and just laid there and watched it. And the joy on his face about ceiling fans is crazy. Like, if he knows we're going to somebody's house, he asks if there's a fan, and he says fan, he says ban. And so we're like, I don't know, we'll have to see if there's a fan. And then if there's not, he's sure to point where one should go, and then points to the wall where you put the switch, you know. And so he's done that at his grandparents a few times, and I think his grandpa's gonna install one. Because Nathan has told him several times, you need one here. You need one right here. It can be, and the downside of it is it's the strangest thing, but he'll get obsessed with them, and he can shop on Amazon. He doesn't buy anything, cross our fingers that he never does, but he'll add ceiling fans to my cart constantly. So I'll have to go clean it out, and he thinks that I can just order one up and it'll just be delivered right then and there, you know, because Amazon, you can do that sometimes.
Exactly. Yes.
And then he doesn't realize we're not installing we don't have another spot that we want to put one. So I have found their little camping tent ones that you're supposed to hang from your tent, and it's a ceiling fan. It has a little remote, a light on it, and we've bought several of those, and he hangs them around the house. And
then doesn't he have like a playhouse or something that he puts in there?
Yeah,
too?
He has a playhouse outside that he hangs it, and then he also he has these like rods that build forts. Like, it's a big old set that you build forts, and he takes one rod and sticks 4 on there. And last week or the week before, we had literally one of those hanging in every room of our house. And that was his ceiling fan. And it was a compromise because he was having moments of wanting us to buy new ones, and we're like, no, look, you built us one, we don't need a new one. And he's like, okay, we're good. So yeah. The other thing is that he's been obsessed with this summer is RVs. Out of nowhere RVs. I think he's fascinated that it's a whole house on wheels. But that's another thing. He thinks we can just order it up and it'll be delivered. And so that compromise has been, let's go drive around and find RVs. And he's been good with that. So
that's good. That's good. Well, but it's like, you know, giving those compromises, because you can't make all his wishes come true.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I could, I would, but I tell Mel, your mama does a lot here that I make happen. You don't
Yeah.
even understand some of the things that I've had to do to make this
Exactly.
happen.
So one of the other things that Nathan is fixated on is McDonald's. So tell
Yes.
me what part has that hat played in your life, and then also why you think maybe he will get a job there someday.
Yes. McDonald's. Sorry, McDonald's, but I hate you. When he's little, you're like, let's get a first Happy Meal, exciting. About 2 years old. Let's get a first Happy Meal. And we grew up on those. Let's do it. That has become an obsession for Nathan. And it's not, I've heard it numerous times that is the only thing that kids with autism will eat are McDonald's French fries or their nuggets or, things like that. So it started out with we would have to go through the drive-through and we would ask literally for a medium French fry and say, "Can you please put it in a Happy Meal box?"
Right.
And because he had to see that box, he didn't care about the whole Happy Meal. He just wanted the fries and a drink. He had to see a drink. And we have a McDonald's like 3 blocks from us, which is so annoying, but they have been absolutely fabulous. There's some people who've worked there that have watched Nathan grow up. Basically, they've known him since he was a baby, and so they've watched his autism. They understand it, and they've been so accommodating to him. So we've moved on from it has to be in a Happy Meal box to now he just can get a French fry and a drink, and then periodically he asks for nuggets or a cheeseburger, and he knows how to say both of those things, so he can tell us which one he wants. But the one thing that we cannot change is his routine at bedtime. We've tried so hard to be like, not tonight, let's not do it. And the problem is he won't sleep if we don't. And so he has to go get a small French fry and a small drink before bed every night. And then he goes to bed. And sometimes he eats it, sometimes he doesn't, but the routine
It's
is
just the
part of
routine
his
of that.
routine. Yeah.
How does that work when you're somewhere else? Like we're at your Disneyland, obviously there's no McDonald's. So what happened?
What's funny is when we're somewhere else, he doesn't care.
Oh, that's
He
good.
doesn't want it. He doesn't even ask for it, and we refuse to go to a McDonald's when we go out of town, because if he doesn't need it, then we're like, okay, we don't.
Let's not do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's not like you haven't invested stock in McDonald's.
right, that's what I tell him, and it's so funny because there's a guy who works there, and this is why I've said it might be his first job, is because there's a guy who works there who is on the spectrum, very high functioning, but he works the window and he knows us now. I have conversations with him and he's like, I think you pay my salary. And I said, I probably do.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But that McDonald's, they hire people, and I'm sure other ones do, but this one in particular, they actually will hire people that have special needs that maybe are a little delayed. And I've always told my husband, I'm like, I bet you when Nathan can have a job, we could go talk to them and say, okay, what could he do here? And I've always said if he got a job at McDonald's and that became his career for the rest of his life, I would be so happy for him.
Yeah.
I'm not taking away what he could potentially do in his life. I'm just saying, like, if that was what he enjoyed, chose to do, he was good at it, by all means. Like, I just want him to feel like he is good at, feel good about what he's doing.
Absolutely.
And
And he's contributing to his community.
Yeah. And and I will tell you, companies should hire more people with autism because they thrive on that on routine, and they are not going to miss work.
Yeah.
Nathan, if he knew he had a job and had to go there every day, once he established that, he'd be like, okay, I can't miss. And it's amazing to see that ethic. Cause like I said, he does not miss school unless he has to.
Absolutely. So from screaming in the middle of the floor at kitchen, night terrors, all the way to now playing basketball and saying words like cheeseburger, hamburger, and going to Disneyland, come a long way, and they're only sky's the limit on my Thank you so much for being here today. As we like to finish every episode, I have my little list of rapid fire questions. So these are
Okay.
questions that we've come up with, and it's just rapid fire. So you just answer first thing that comes to your mind. And here we go. So, what's one word that describes your mornings?
I'll do two. So chaotic during school, tired. I'm not a morning person.
That's the coffee, huh?
Yes.
So, coffee versus tea, or just survival by sheer willpower?
Oh, definitely coffee. I have to have my coffee every day.
What's a small joy that gets you through a hard day?
With all the talk about Nathan, I guess it's when both of my kids are happy during the day. That's a small joy. Yeah, I mean, it's cliche to say, but when they have had a good day, it helps me to have a good day.
What's the last thing that made you laugh out loud?
Probably, I mean, I'm thinking about this. I just watched the new Happy Gilmore. That was pretty funny, but I will say something Chayse said. I can't remember what all she says, but the things that come out of that girl's mouth, I am just always just like, okay, that's what we're doing. And I just crack up.
So, what's Nathan's superpower?
I would say I've always said that Nathan is the strongest person I know because he has to go through life with not being able to communicate. And so I think just his going through life without having that ability that we all have is his superpower.
Yes, absolutely. What's a song that instantly lifts your mood?
Oh, I like music in general. So anything that has a good beat, if I can dance to it, I'm all about though the 90s, 2000s like music, but 90s music. If I can dance to that, then I'm in a good mood.
Little salt and pepper happening.
Oh yeah.
What's one thing you wish people knew about autism that they often do not?
It's hard. Autism is hard. I mean, I put on a brave face every day. I look like we have it all together, but autism is hard. And Chayse said it. Autism is hard.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time. So yeah, that's what it is. It's a hard diagnosis.
Out of the mouth of babes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your go-to takeout when you're just too tired to cook?
Chips and salsa. If I can order that, I order them quite a bit from a restaurant here in Spokane that and it's funny because they're very expensive, but I don't care. I'll eat them day and night.
If you had an entire free day to yourself, no kids, no chores, what do you do?
I get this periodically when they go visit their grandparents. So this one's easy for me. I will sit on the couch if I have a good book. Freedom McFadden is my favorite, and I actually just bought a new one, so I was excited. I found one that I haven't read yet. If I can sit and read or even binge watch something that I haven't gotten to, I mean, play a game on my phone. Just being able to not have to do something for little kids for
just some
a
mindless energy. Yes.
Yeah.
What's one mantra or phrase that keeps you grounded right now?
I'm not good with phrases, so I've always liked Dory from Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming because that's life. Sometimes you just got to keep swimming through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. But also, will you share the link maybe for the airport that you used with Nathan? And then also the link that you have for your Facebook group so that others who maybe want to take their kiddo who's also on the spectrum somewhere and like go through the airport. And then also just you just have so much insight and so much amazing things that you've been through. I know that you can encourage a lot of people, so if they want to connect with you, maybe have a link for that.
So I just use my Facebook or my Through Nathan's Eyes as the Facebook, and then I will definitely share that link so that you can click on it. And then also the YouTube video that we watch. It was perfect. I mean, he watches it numerous times. I could
love
also find This Old House if you really want it.
Okay, we'll put all those links in the description, and then if you need it, it's there for you as a resource. Thanks for joining us. You'll have to join us again sometime.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.